Is the 4,000 level on the S&P 500 a nice round number, or does defending that level actually mean something?
Well, Brian, there's no question that that is a very key technical level. It is also very close to where the 50-day moving average is at, which is at 39.96. So that's really going to be a very important level to be watching in here. Brian, last week's, the Powell push, kind of pushing this market lower last week, was caught a lot of people off guard on the equity side, but it really didn't catch many investors off guard on the bond market side of the world. We didn't really see a huge spike up in the 2-year. The 10-year didn't really move up, and we didn't really see a huge move in the dollar. All these things I would have thought we would have seen. But again, bringing it back to equities, that 50-day moving average is going to be a pretty important level to watch. And then after that, 39.81, which would be a retracement of 50% of the move off of those June lows to the August highs we had just put in. Those are going to be the two things that I'm really going to be watching in coming days.
What if we don't hold 39.81?
If you don't hold 39.81, then the odds increase and you're going to go all the way back down and have to retest those June lows. And those June lows would be meaningfully lower. Those June lows would get you back down to the 36 level. And then you got the opportunity to say, could we make a double bottom in here? But any sort of break below those lows, Brian, would then usher in a new leg lower. But all that being said, let's try to put a little bit of a positive spin on this, right? When you go back and you try to use 2020 coming off of those lows as a guide, a lot of people were looking for some sort of double bottom low. One of the things that we were watching were these retracement levels. Did you retrace, 37%, 50%? And we didn't see a lot of stocks doing that. That's what we're going to be really need to be honing in on to decide if, hey, is our price objective for the year right? Do we need to change it? Or are we going to break down for a further low? In addition, keeping an eye on the bond market to see if more hawkishness needs to be priced in.
Yeah, it's kind of unusual, Craig, that, Friday we had this huge move in stocks, which a lot of that may have been option setup, something that we talked about in this program, the idea of market structure, setup going into September, et cetera. The bond market, at least the 10-year, maybe not the 2, bond market didn't move much. It's kind of odd.
That is odd. The bond market did move. The dollar is sitting at key overhead resistance levels around 109. You need to break above 109, 110 for something else to happen there. And then, Brian, think about it this way. It's Friday, it's summer, and that we had 1,000-point sell-off in the Dow, and you look at the volume numbers, and they were 2% below the 30-day average. So putting it all together, again, I want to be clear that we could see a deeper pullback, but there's certain things that we're going to be watching technically in this market to see if this is just going to be a little bit of a pullback off of an 18% move off of those June lows. Again, we've corrected about 6% of it. You got 1.5% to go.
Yeah.
Back to the 50-day.
I'm tired of being the Grim Reaper this early on a Monday morning, Craig. We like opportunity. You want to buy low. You want to buy for the future. Talk to us about NVIDIA. Talk to us about Range Resources. Give us some Opportunity Monday is what we call it today. Why not? I just made that up.
Brian, we're still overweight. Yeah, it's a good makeup. We still like what we see in the energy space. We continue to look at this as sort of innocent until proven guilty. And Range Resources is one of those companies. A lot of investors were looking at energy saying it can't work any further. They were taking profits. You haven't had a big uptrend break. That's Range Resources. If we look at NVIDIA, despite all the negative news, the sort of quarterly miss that occurred, we didn't really see the stock break down to a new low. So if stocks aren't going to break down on negative news, I would view that as a positive sign. And then lastly, Brian, in the healthcare space, another area we remain overweight, I look at stocks like CRISPR. This is a stock that has been very meaningfully off of its highs. It looks like it stopped finally making a series of lower lows and lower highs, and looks like it's sort of making what I would define as a pretty attractive looking base. So those would be 3 names for Opportunity Monday, Brian, that we should focus on.